FAB-Racing.
The Extreme 200s, and they will be making their way up for their first race of their second round of the season. And the Extremes will be, as you can see, flashing past goes Harrison, Crosby, but a number of riders from that British Talent Cup grid on this grid here. The likes of Harvey Claridge has been up through the British Talent Cup. The likes of Evan Belford, Harrison Crosby, of course, making him bigger. Charlie Nesbitt, of course, a GP2 rider up in the BSP. Rossi Banham. So many that come back down to Fab, get a bit of seat time, have a little bit of fun, but equally getting the elbows out and putting on a good show.
Yeah, they're here, you know, like you say, putting on a good show and joining some pretty serious racing. It's really good stuff. They always put on a good show for us, which is amazing to see. And they're coming here doing a bit of training, getting those laps in and getting ready for the season ahead over in the British Talent Cup as well. So of course all these guys as well, they know the FAB-Racing paddock quite well because they've all grown up through here. Before they've graduated up to the British Talent Cup, they've come through the Minimoto classes, they've come through the Metro Kit classes as well, the GP50s, the GP70s, and now they're back for a little bit of fun. It's a little bit more relaxed than when they were doing the GP50s and 70s because, of course, this isn't their main form of racing. Their main focus is the British Talent Cup, and some of these riders also in the GP2 paddock as well, riders like Harvey Claridge, you can see there on pole position.
Yeah, and Harvey Claridge, who will be looking at getting a win on this one. Didn't quite work for him earlier in the weekend, but he's picked up one already on a result. But he's got a good launch off the line, holds on to the lead of this one. Behind, everyone filters into position, holding position from their grid slots, and it is Harvey Claridge leading away. Harrison Crosby finding his way in third. Of course, Harrison's picked up a couple of race wins so far this weekend. He'll be looking on for extending a bit of a gap in that championship, but this is going to go right down. This always does. This category is always one of those unknowns. You never quite know who's going to finish where in this one because, well, we've seen riders go down, we've seen riders get back up, we've seen riders go down, get back up and even come back and finish on the podium like we did last season. But down the inside you can see an overtake for the lead, and unfortunately that's Harvey Claridge down to second position. And across the line for the first time it's Evan Belford, of course, British Talent Cup rider that finds his way back up into lead run. Evan Belford, of course, race winner in round one. He should have finished, he should have picked up 2 wins, but unfortunately a transponder issue meant he didn't pick up the second one. However, leading this one after lap 1.
Yeah, he's come to try and show Harvey Claridge why he deserved that race win earlier on, that Harvey Claridge got gifted due to the fact that Evan Belford didn't have a working transponder fitted onto his KTM 85cc machine, but Harvey Claridge all over his rear wheel and trying to show him why he does deserve to be winning races here in the Extreme 200 category. Of course, Evan Belford, British Talent Cup rider, Harvey Claridge, ex-British Talent Cup rider, now moving up into the GP2 paddock on that Nova Transmissions GP2 machine over in the British Superbike paddock as well. So all these guys, British Superbike paddock riders, as they lead over Owen Mellor, who's in 4th, Rossi Banham, another British Talent Cup rider further down there, and Cameron Horseman also in here as well. So a grid stacked full of BSB riders pretty much.
Yeah, Rossi Banham only split with Owen Mellor across the line by 0.06 of a second, so Rossi starting to put the pressure on Owen Mellor for 4th place. But the fight for the lead is still going on with 3 riders, Evan Belford, Harvey Claridge and Harrison Crosby, all multiple time race winners here in Fab across multiple categories. So yeah, pick your favourite, because it could go to any of the 3 of them that are currently circulating their way around the second chicane towards the back end of the circuit as they sweep around the long hairpin down towards the second sector. Currently it's Evan Belford from Harvey Claridge, Harrison Crosby. Rossi Banham has now made his way up past Owen Mellor, who's dropped down a couple of positions. It's now Cam Horseman up into 5th place. Dylan Mellor has moved up past Owen as well. So Rossi Banham now up to 4th place, but 8 seconds off the back of the 3-3.
Yeah, and Evan Belford now really pushing at the front of this one. You can see Harvey Claridge really pushing to try and be on his rear wheel, really trying to see if there's any way of getting past him. He's had a good bit of time to try and study him. Looks as if Harrison Crosby's just dropping off the back of these guys as well. So difficult one for Harrison Crosby, is just struggling to keep on to the pace of these guys at the front, setting such a consistent pace. Best lap for Evan Belford 41.3. Best lap for Harvey Claridge, 41.3. Last lap for Belford, 41.4. Last lap for Claridge, also 41.4. So these guys absolutely matching each other for pace, and that's just let Harrison Crosby just drop off the back of them slightly, but now it's all between these two guys. 5 laps down in this race 1 for the Extreme 200s, round 2 here at Lydd.
Yeah, and you can see even on these bikes compared to their ones they pick up on in the BSB paddock, you can see Harvey Claridge getting in the slipstream of Evan Belford, letting Evan punch that hole through the air, trying to minimise any source of drag whatsoever. And it's brilliant technique. This is exactly what they've learned at FAB, exactly what they've taken into the BSB paddock, and they're bringing it back down, doing exactly what they need to do, just learning to follow each other in the tracks and taking up to the big tracks. And currently Harvey Claridge trying to, as you see, tucking in down the back straight as they go down towards the final corner. Evan Belford, however, having a really good run in this one. It seems so. He seems to have he seems to be enjoying this Lydd circuit this weekend, having a couple of good runs in the top 3, a couple of wins so far, or one that was taken away from him, but a couple of decent results from Evan, which is maybe something we didn't see from him last season, as we probably should have done.
Of course, and not to forget that he was once a front runner over in the GP70 paddock as well, so he knows exactly what it's like to exactly what he needs to do to be winning races and to be up the front of these championships here in the FAB-Racing array of classes that we have here at the Lydd kart circuit. And he's all over his back wheel now is the number 16 of Harvey Claridge. He has a look down into the final corner, no way through this time round. 7 laps down of this 11-lap race.
He's got his laps right this time. 5 laps left to go for Evan Belford. Harvey Claridge, fastest lap of 41.219, and he's currently right on the tail of Evan Belford. The gap across the line was 0.2 of a second. Harrison Crosby, as you were saying a few laps ago, just dropping back now, 1.9 seconds off the back of Harvey Claridge. Just can't quite seem to have an answer for the pace being set by the guys up ahead. Rossi Banham is 18 seconds off the back of this lead battle now. So Rossi, who's been involved in his own fight with Cam Horseman, but we've got 4.5 laps left to go in this one, and Evan Belford is fighting with Harvey Claridge. Harvey desperately trying to find any chink in the armour of Evan Belford, looking to follow him through every single corner, but you can see Evan just hugging the apex of every corner, just not allowing Harvey to have the opportunity of just putting that nose down the inside.
Yeah, he's covering his lines beautifully. He's the number 52 of Evan Belford, just making sure there's no way through. Has a slight bit of breathing space now, but that will go back and forth as these laps go on. Just heading into the back part of the section, back onto the back straight one more time. What will Harvey Claridge be able to do into the final corner? He gets into the tuck really early, tries to get his slipstream. Not close enough this time round though. He's going to need to be able to just get slightly closer if he wants to be able to make a move on Evan Belford. Harrison Crosby has dropped off these guys by quite some way now in 3rd place. Rossi Banham is down there in 4th on his pit bike 140. Cameron Horseman also on pit bike 140, and Dylan and Owen Mellor are rounding out your race for this race 1 for the Extreme 200s, round 2 here in FAB-Racing Minibike British Championships. Not quite close enough still is Harvey Claridge. He's got a couple more laps left to go before he needs to make a move. He's closing in on this back section. Strengths and weaknesses of these bikes and riders. He tries to get tucks in really close, tries to have a look, but not quite close enough this time.
Yeah, you can see Harvey Claridge just trying to get in the peripheral vision of Evan Belford as they go on to start the penultimate lap of the race. Evan Belford has been putting that bike in all the right places. There's a little bit of lap traffic up ahead. Will that come into play as they're going to meet it around the back end of the circuit? And Evan Belford sweeping around the second chicane, coming into the long hairpin at the back end and down towards turn 4 and turn 5. And Evan Belford and Harvey Claridge still fighting each other throughout this one. It looks as though they're going to meet the lap traffic right at the wrong opportunity, because Evan's going to get compromised going onto the back straight. Will that open the door for Harvey Claridge? He's going to tuck in behind. He's going to get a really good run on Evan Belford. Not quite close enough to send it into the final corner. You've got to think that this is going to be the last opportunity for Harvey Claridge to do anything if he wants to take this race win away from Evan Belford. They're on to the final lap of the race. Harvey Claridge across the line, 0.2 of a second behind Evan Belford. Evan desperately trying to hold on. They all want this race win, no matter that they're just here for some practice. They desperately want to go home on top of the podium.
Yeah, and on this final half a lap for these guys, where is Harvey going to be able to do it? He's had a look at the final corner for the last couple of laps, but doesn't quite seem to be strong enough on the brakes. Evan Belford really strong on the... Oh, and he's run wide there, so that's going to let Harvey Claridge come through. He has a look at the final corner once more, but Evan Belford, like you just said, really strong on the brakes, and it's going to be Evan Belford that drags it to the line to take the victory. Evan Belford it is that takes the win ahead of Harvey Claridge. Harvey Claridge setting the fastest lap of the race earlier on. Harrison Crosby comes across the line in third on the number 93. British Talent Cup 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, and it shows you can see the two leaders as they came across the line. Evan Belford just had a quick glance over, and Harvey Claridge just looked at him. I almost got you. You can see even till the last lap, it's so easy to make that one mistake, and he just ran out wide coming onto the back straight. And unfortunately, Harvey Claridge just didn't send it down the inside. Thought better of it, and well, comes home, picks up another podium, picks up the fastest lap. However, 41.211 for Harvey Claridge. Just absolutely blistering consistency in lap times. So we're all within a couple of tenths of each other. Evan Belford, however, another win for him in the Extreme 200s. Pretty decent weekend so far for the former MKGP 70 winner.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's done exactly what he's needed to do. Come out here, have a bit of fun, win some races, and get ready for his British Talent Cup campaign. And also has a slight mental advantage now over some of his British Talent Cup rivals, beating the likes of Harrison Crosby, Rossi, Banham riders that he's going to be racing against in the British Talent Cup.
Racing.
And Harvey Claridge, well, he'll be lining up in pole position. I'm sure he'll be wanting to come home with the gold coming the end of this one. The fourth, you can see Evan Belford just filtering into position now as everyone starts to build up the nerves, ready for this one. Yep, there may be a bit of training for some of these guys, however, they all want to win. Who's going to take this one away? Harrison Crosby back in third position on the 93. What can he do back there from the second row as they get ready to look to the lights to kick off the second race of the day or second race of the weekend for these guys as they sweep into turn one. It's a great move there. Charlie Nesbitt getting the move done behind Rossi Banham, trying to get some overtakes done into the exit of turn one. Behind, you can see, well, everyone just about making their way through turn one, all fine, but up at the front, Harvey Claridge holding on to the lead.
Excellent execution there from Charlie Nesbitt on that first corner. Was blown away through by that move. Really, really good move from him. Evan Belford dropping back through the field there, so possibly on a pit by 140. They can't quite tell from here, but Evan Belford just dropping through the field. Not what we expect to see from him. He's quite a bit further back. He's back there. I think that is the number 14. That is a pit by 140 that he is running from earlier on. That we saw him in the pit by 140s as well. So don't expect to see him challenging Harvey Claridge because, of course, that extra bit of power. But you can see him battling it out with the number 86, Charlie Nesbitt. Both these guys on 140cc machinery. Steve Cornwall just behind is going to be looking to try and get through on these guys as well. Also, the number 47, Jake Archer, in there as well. So keep an eye out for him.
For the uninitiated that maybe are turning on or listening for the first time, tell us the difference. Those guys are out there on the 140s, those are out there on those Extreme 200 class bikes.
Well, the pit bike 140s are essentially pit bikes. They're the Chinese bikes, 140cc four-stroke engines. The Extreme 200s, these are the types of bikes that you see. They are motocross bikes converted to be mini supermotos, essentially. So like you'd see in like a normal supermoto category, where they convert 450 motocross bikes into supermotos. It's the same thing here. They're just converting a 150cc Honda CRF into a mini supermoto. Equally, the KTM 85cc's. You can see the 105cc's as well, but you tend not to see them as much.
I know there's a reason why we keep you around with this font of knowledge about bikes. Is always good to hear. But yep, that is the difference you see with some of these guys that might be falling off the back of the pack. However, they are still out there enjoying themselves. However, the man that is enjoying himself the most is Harvey Claridge. Not too much though, because Harrison Crosby is trying to stay with him. It's around about just dipping under a second's gap across the line last time around. What is it this time? It's gapped up to 1.13 of a second. Harrison Crosby back in second place. Steve Cornwall, another strong run from the four. Once again, he's up in third position. Charlie Nesbitt, 1.7 seconds back. He's got Rossi Banham for company, who's just under a second behind him. The 196 running Rossi Banham. Jake Archer, sixth position. Tim Cornwall, seventh. As you said at the start, Evan Belford falling back a few positions off the front row. He's down in eighth position. Dylan Mellor and Jack Andrews round out your top 10.
Yeah, so brilliant stuff from them. Of course, Harvey Claridge now breaking away at the front, 1.1 second lead that he has over Harrison Crosby on that Metrokit machine. The number 16 just flying away at the front here, as you see a plethora of BSB riders on this grid. Jake Archer, the number 47 we're currently looking at, of course, RS Racing GP2 rider, teammate to Charlie Nesbitt over in the GP2 paddock in BSB. So plenty of BSB names on this grid, but it is Claridge, who is another GP2 rider, in fact, for the Nova Transmissions team, leading this one. So plenty of GP2s, plenty of British Talent Cup riders in this one. Crosby 1.2 seconds away from Harvey Claridge now. Harvey setting consistent lap times at the front, consistent 41s, 41.5 and now a 41.7 as well on that last lap. Just crosses the line again and it's a 41.6. So all his lap times within 0.3 of a second, and that is what is bringing him this mammoth lead that he has out the front. 1.2 seconds. Crosby's giving it everything though. 41.6 on the last lap for Crosby as well, and actually did the exact same lap time on that last lap.
Yeah, that's impressive, down to the thousandths of a second. So let's see if we've got another digit after that one, because Harvey Claridge will want to be taking this one, because at the moment Harrison Crosby still sticking with him. 1.2 seconds, it's still within reach, but Harvey putting down some solid laps in this early phase of this one, and it's great to see these guys, as you say, that have graduated through to the BSB paddock, coming back and not only going out there and getting some seat time, but as we found out from Charlie Nesbitt last season, he works with the kids here, working with them and teaching them new skills and working on their technique. And it's great to see these guys that have worked their way through FAB coming back down and working with that next generation. Yeah,
whilst they're coming back here and having a little bit of fun, doing some training, it helps them for their season as well. And they're also coming back here, the likes of Charlie Nesbitt coming back here, helping out with some of the riders. We've seen him helping out with a lot of them, the likes of Warwick Brady, Josh Bannister, and a lot of the riders in some of the lower classes. And he's here helping them out, just giving them a few tips, showing them around, and it's brilliant to see. I mean, we saw earlier in the weekend as well, on the Friday, the likes of Rossi, Banham, who we see in these classes, who's currently 5th in this race. He was taking a few of the younger riders for a track walk and just helping them out with their lines and picking their markers and stuff like that. So it is brilliant to see these guys coming back, helping out. FAB has helped them in their careers, and they're coming back and helping out FAB.
Yeah, absolutely so. And so the circle of life continues in FAB, and it does an absolute stellar job of not only producing some great talent, but producing some great teachers in the same stead. But out at the front of this one, Harvey Claridge, gap now is just about dropped to 0.8 of a second. So Harrison's starting to make a couple of inroads in on him. They're coming around to start 4 laps left to go. Harrison just sniffing a little bit of blood here. Harvey Claridge getting a little bit closer. He's going to feel, as soon as, I mean, when you're in this position, you can feel yourself closing in, and across the line it's now down to 0.4 of a second. So, I mean, as soon as you feel yourself closing in, and this translates across, 2 wheels to 4 wheels to 3 wheels, as soon as you feel yourself, I feel I'm a little bit faster than him, you just get quicker, and you start to get that confidence, and this is exactly what's happening to Harrison.
Yeah, Crosby is very much being the chaser here in this race, closing down on Harvey Claridge. You can see him just getting closer and closer, and that's exactly, I mean, it gives him a good peace of mind, gives him confidence whilst he's riding, and having someone to aim at does make things a lot easier. I mean, once he's got him, then the next thing is overtaking him, because of course, I mean, catching him is one thing, but if he can get past the number 16 of Harvey Claridge, because we've seen how strong Harvey can be in a battle, as well as they just make their way across a few back markers, just about managed it. So just about managed to make their way up through them, now back down into the back section of the circuit. Just a few more laps to go in this race. Who's it going to be? Will it be Claridge? Will it be the number 93 of Crosby? As Crosby gets, is that a problem for Claridge, because he's just pulled to the side of the circuit? That is now Harrison Crosby in the lead, but it looks as if some big problems there for Harvey Claridge. So we'll have to wait and see what happened there. There he is at the side of the circuit. So Harvey Claridge out of this race at the worst time possible.
Oh, from the lead of the race, Harvey Claridge, it all goes wrong. So that promotes Harrison Crosby up into the lead with just 2.5 laps left to go as he comes around to start the second to last lap. And Harrison Crosby, well, he's got to do 2 more laps of this, and he's going to go past the stricken Harvey Claridge, and Harvey Claridge now dropping down the order. Steve Cornwall is going to be promoted up into a podium position. Charlie Nesbitt is now up into third place now. Rossi Banham a little bit further back from them. So Charlie Nesbitt, even on that slower bike, is now in a comfortable 3rd place. But Harrison Crosby in a league of his own now, not having to worry whatsoever. He can just enjoy this ride around on that Extreme 200 bike in this lovely Sunday sun down on the beach down at Lydd. And well, it's unfortunately best case scenario for Harrison, worst case scenario for Harvey.
Yeah, it's exactly what Harrison would have wanted to see. I mean, Harrison was closing in anyway. Harrison looked as if he was going to try and make a move at some point anyway. He was already lining up that pass, and then perfect timing for him. Unfortunately for Harvey Claridge, he pulled it off to the side of the track, so now that is a 6.3 second lead that he has over Steve Cornwall, and he just needs to bring it round to the flag now with half a lap remaining in this race. Heads down into the twisty section for the final time, about to come up on to the back straight. He looks really confident, really smooth, really nice ride from him. He caught up Harvey Claridge, he just needed to get past him. He knows that he's on his own out there at the front, just cruises around the final corner for the final time, comes across the line, and it is Harrison Crosby who takes the win here in the Extreme 200s, race 2 for round 2.
Yeah, brilliant result there from Harrison, who has picked up a couple of wins so far this weekend. Up to the line, Steve Cornwall takes second place. Charlie Nesbitt will hold on to third ahead of Rossi Banham. Jake Archer and Tim Cornwall are currently circulating in 5th and 6th position. Evan Belford, after unfortunately a little bit of a slow race for Evan, he's dropped down to 7th place and running a bit of no man's land, but you can see Harvey Claridge just cruising his way back to pit road after that issue with the bike, but popping a wheelie down the back is Harrison Crosby, your race winner for the second race of round 2 for the Extreme 200s. And Harrison, after going down on his own yesterday and looking up to the sky out of the lead, well, much better this time around, pops another wheelie down the back straight as the 93, and well, that will buoy him going into the final race of the weekend. And everyone wants to leave the final race of the weekend with that win, because of course that takes the confidence into the next round. It takes the confidence for these guys that are moving into BSB, knowing that of course they've beaten some guys that they'll be racing against.
Racing.
Watch out for Harrison Crosby and Rossi Banham, 3rd and 6th on the grid. Both of those guys hopefully have taken a little bit of a breath after that mad Pit Bike 140 race. It looks as though your pole sitter Harvey Claridge being made to start from pit road though, so in the pit lane is the 16 of Harvey Claridge. That means that Harrison Crosby will have a clear run down to turn 1, and he will have the 14 that's being pushed up into P2 alongside him. So Harrison, that's worked out pretty nicely for him. You can see Evan Belford alongside him. So Harrison Crosby, as he's sitting there revving the engine, getting ready to go to kick off the third and final race of the weekend for the Extreme 200s. Looking at the lights as the heart starts to pound a little bit heavier, the adrenaline's pumping as they're getting to send it down to turn 1. Who gets the run off the line? It's a great start there from, it looks as though Steve Cornwall on the 4 machine, already scything his way through. What a launch off the line from Steve Cornwall.
Yeah, brilliant start there from the number 4, Steve Cornwall, just making his way up to the front of this race. So exactly what he would have wanted to start off this race. Of course, helped a little bit by the fact that there was no Harvey Claridge. You can just see Harvey Claridge joining the race further back there, having to start from pit lane as we just try and find the riders there. Just went a little bit dizzy there, Gareth.
Yeah, absolutely, as they make their way around the back end of the circuit. Oh, there's a rider down. That's Harrison Crosby. Yeah, Harrison just losing adhesion on the tyres, slipping, and down he goes on the exit of turn 4. And that's one of your race winners from earlier on in this weekend out of the race. At least, oh, there's another rider down there. It must be just 2 riders have gone down at the same corner. It's Harrison getting back up onto his feet, trying to get back underway. There's 93 of Harrison Crosby. You can see he's got the bike restarted. He's trying to bump it as he goes on. But Harrison Crosby, race winner already this weekend, right down the back of the order after falling down off the start. But it's a great start for Steve Cornwall. He leads across the line already 2.1 seconds ahead of Evan Belford.
Yeah, Steve Cornwall out the front ahead of these guys. These guys for battling for that 3rd place. They're all on Pit Bike 140 machinery, so they're down on power compared to the rest. We've got Jake Archer in there battling with Charlie Nesbitt, and Rossi Banham in there as Charlie Nesbitt just lets through. No, he doesn't let him through. He just shows him a boot saying, "You're not coming through, Rossi Banham." But Rossi all over his rear wheel now. Jake Archer just pulling away from them slightly, but it's Steve Cornwall out the front, setting fastest lap after fastest lap. 3.1 seconds was the lead he had over the line, ahead of Evan Belford. Evan just slightly ahead of these guys. I'm pretty sure Evan Belford also on a Pit Bike 140, so down on power compared to Steve Cornwall. So Steve has got it out at the front and he has pulled away from these guys, but these guys now really battling for this podium position. Rossi Banham has a little look up the inside of Charlie Nesbitt. Charlie Nesbitt all over the rear wheel of his teammate Jake Archer. Of course, both teammates in GP2. Charlie Nesbitt just looking down at the bike there. Perhaps some bike issues for the number 86.
Yeah, just a little bit distracted, and that's opened the door and allowed through up into third place Jake Archer. So Jake taking third off of Rossi Banham up into fourth position. So Rossi now up into fourth and can now chase down Jake Archer for that podium position. Steve Cornwall's lead now sits at 4.1 seconds. Evan Belford has got Jake Archer 0.6 of a second behind him, and Rossi Banham 0.3 back off that, as they're all trying to filter into position around the back end of the circuit at the long hairpin, sweeping down over the crest into turn 4 and turn 5. And these guys are all going to go at each other for the rest of this one. Charlie Nesbitt is going to try and keep it going. You can see another glance down at the bike, not quite happy with its straight line speed, it seems, coming into the final corner, holding position. But Steve Cornwall across the line once again. A fastest lap for him, a 42.462 is enough to keep a 5.5 second advantage over Jake Archer. Evan Belford, Charlie Nesbitt and Rossi Banham are all chasing down a quartet of very, very quick riders.
Charlie Nesbitt now all over the rear wheel of Evan Belford. He's going to have a look into the hairpin. He did it one lap ago to Rossi Banham. He tries to do it to Evan Belford. Can't make it stick this time round though. Jake Archer at the front of that group just pulls away on acceleration. I think Jake Archer might be on one of the CRF 150s there, so a little bit more power for Jake Archer at the beginning of the front of this group. You can see he just pulls away down the front straights, or down the back straight rather, as Evan Belford tips into the final corner. They're going to complete one more lap, and it is still Evan Belford that's holding on to that lead. Charlie Nesbitt all over his rear wheel, wheelies and jumps over the curbs there. Charlie Nesbitt out there enjoying life on that Pit Bike 140 machine, all over the rear wheel of Evan Belford. You can see Evan just looking to the side, trying to figure out where Charlie Nesbitt is and where he's going to appear all of a sudden. But it is Rossi Banham now who's just on Charlie's back wheel, trying to find a way through as well. So all these guys really close, interlocked, absolutely glued together in this Extreme 200 race, apart from Steve Cornwall, who's absolutely checked out the front.
Yeah, disappearing up the road is Steve Cornwall. Another fast lap there of 42.7 is just fractionally slower than his fastest lap, 6.7 seconds. But now Harvey Claridge, who started from the pit lane at 42.4, the fastest lap, but it's the number 4, Steve Cornwall, leading away from Jake Archer, Evan Belford, Charlie Nesbitt and Rossi Banham. We've got a rider down to the side of the circuit, stationary. Looks as though they're trying to get it restarted, and back in the race they go. But it's still Steve Cornwall, 6.7 seconds, 6 laps left to go, and the number 4 is having a fantastic race against Jake Archer, just with that benefit of an extra bit of power. And behind this battle is going on, we've got Evan Belford, we've got Charlie Nesbitt, and we've got Rossi Banham. And Rossi is going to be well versed with a bit of close quarters battle. He's just done it in the Pit Bike 140s. He's getting ever so close to the rear tyre of Charlie Nesbitt there, just caught him out a little bit as Harrison Crosby is trying to recover after his fall earlier. Steve Cornwall was out there up in front, because of course we lost Harrison Crosby earlier on in this one.
Yeah, Harrison Crosby unfortunately crashing out. You can see he's rejoined there. He is back on the bike, but just nursing that bike home, unfortunately, for the number 93. But Steve Cornwall isn't nursing anything home. He is absolutely flying out the front. He is 7.8 seconds ahead of anyone else. Of course, Jake Archer fronting that battle for second place. That big gaggle of riders fighting for the final 2 positions on the podium for the final race of the weekend here for the Extreme 200. Steve Cornwall has completed 8 laps of this race. A few more left to go for him before he can take his first victory in the 2021 season here at Lydd. Race 3 for round 2 at the Lydd kart circuit here on the southeast coast of England. You can see him just catching up to Harrison Crosby there, who suffered from that crash earlier on, and just nursing the bike home essentially down in 12th place in this race. Harvey Claridge it is though, with the fastest lap of the race. We've sort of forgotten about him because he started from pit lane, didn't he? So fastest lap of the race earlier on, and really consistent, trying to climb up through the field. Yeah, and of course was meant to be starting on pole position, had to start from the pit lane, and with that fastest lap he's showing he's trying to battle his way through, but he is a few seconds off the lead. Trying to close in on Jack Andrews in 8th position is Harvey Claridge. However, it is Jake Archer that is got, and he's the 47, is holding off the 86 of Charlie Nesbitt and Rossi Banham on the 196, and the trio of them have been fighting
all race long, and it's still Jake Archer just about holding off his teammate, of course, Charlie Nesbitt in third position. Rossi Banham just can't seem to find a way past. Rossi Banham seems to have been in this position fighting to find a way past people all weekend long.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what it's all about here, as Harvey Claridge is caught right up to these guys and he's right in the mix. But of course, I think he might be a lap down or something there, because he's right with these guys, but he's quite far down on the timing screens. So he's battling with Jake Archer, but possibly, I think must be a lap. Yeah, he's a lap down. So that's why he's there with them. So he's having fun with these guys despite being a lap down and just getting in the way of their race a little bit. But he's not going to care about that. He just wants to have a little bit of fun with these guys. He is here, of course, for a little bit of training and preparation for his BSB GP2 campaign, and currently circulating with 2 other GP2 riders that are going to be riding over in the British Superbike paddock as well. Perhaps a problem there for Charlie Nesbitt. He was just looking around, or probably just messing around. You can never really tell with Charlie.
Yeah, he almost plays mind games with us. He looks around and makes it look like there's something wrong with the bike, and then he goes out and puts the fastest lap in. But with one lap left to go, it's Steve Cornwall on the Ford that's making his way around the circuit, a 9-second advantage over everyone else. He had an absolute rocket of a start. He's making his way around the back end of the circuit for the final time, and well, just a few corners left to go, and he'll be picking up a debut win in the Extreme 200s for the 2021 season. And well, he's been absolutely superb in this one. Not had anyone to challenge him. Round the final corner comes Steve Cornwall, and he's got that win that he looks as though he was going to have all weekend long. The number 4, Steve Cornwall, is your winner for race 3 of the Extreme 200s. Jake Archer, will he manage to hold on to second position? It's going to be anyone's guess across the line. It's going to be Jake Archer, looking as though he is just ahead of Charlie Nesbitt and Rossi Banham, as the 3 of them come across the line split by less than 1.2 seconds. Tim Cornwall is fighting to hold off Evan Belford for 5th and 6th position. Cam Horseman down in 7th position. Jack Andrews comes across the line in 8th, and Harvey Claridge already classified a lap down, but with that fastest lap, 9th position. Dylan Mellor and Callum Wybrow in 10th and 11th, and Harrison Crosby, I saw him at the side of the circuit trying to get that bike restarted once again, so a couple of issues in this one for probably the worst way to end your weekend for Harrison Crosby, who's had a pretty successful time here at Lydd.
Let's go! The official BSB Partner Series. This is FAB-Racing. Yeah.